Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is still kind of new, so please give my video a thumbs up and subscribe to help out my new channel. So part of the reason why I wanted to start this autism channel is to vlog my day-to-day life living with autism, and one of my biggest obstacles is dealing with regular meltdowns. And I wanted to make like a diary on here to explain what triggers each meltdown that I have. Now, my meltdowns can be over the simplest things, and you'll be able to see what I mean later on in this video. Meltdowns are something that many people with autism experience on a regular basis. They can only be compared to an anger outburst or a temper tantrum of a child. So I'm going to start this channel by documenting my last 5 meltdowns I've had since April the 23rd this year. I thought maybe by sharing my experience it might help other people in the same situation who also have meltdowns on a regular basis. So the biggest meltdown I've had in years happened on April the 23rd, and to save me explaining everything that happened on YouTube, I've decided to upload a TikTok video which I uploaded on the actual day of the aftermath of what actually happened. Hey guys, so I've just had a massive showdown on a bus. Oh my god, it's made me feel so ill. I've got massive palpitations right now, and it was just a massive showdown. I had a really bad confrontational episode, and I'm still trying to calm down from it. So the whole bus was empty. Mum and I were sat in the front of a double-decker bus at the top. My mum was sat on one side, and I was sat in the other. And then this lady came and sat next to my mum, and my mum explained she's just getting over an illness, and I said, can you please move? She asked her politely to please move, and this lady said, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not moving. She would not let my mum out of her seat, and my mum said, can you please move and let me get up? And she said no. She was a foreign lady, so yeah, so I don't know whether she understood or anything, but she would not move out of the seat. So I went right up to her face and I said, can you please let my mum out of her seat? And she said, no, I'm not going anywhere. And I said, let my mum out of her seat. I said, are you crazy? I said, are you crazy? Sorry about that. Sirens going by, I'm just in the city right now. And she wouldn't get up. So my mum had to shove her way past to get out of the seat because she was locking my mum in the seat. Oh my god, it was just absolutely awful. And now I've got massive palpitations. I am really, really stressed. I feel dizzy. Oh, I haven't had a confrontational episode like that in a long time. But it just goes to show that there's still so many ignorant people out there. You can see how red my cheeks are. it was just terrible, you know. It was just really, really horrible. So yeah, I thought I would let everybody know. Yeah, so unfortunately I did take a photograph of her as well. I said I'm going to be posting your photograph all over social media, but I don't think I'm allowed to do that. So yeah, unfortunately I can't post a photograph on social media. So yeah, just thought I would post about it, really. But yeah, basically, Mum and I were sat in the front seats of a double-decker bus, and Mum was sat on the left and I was sat on the right, and the whole bus was free, and this lady decided to just sit by my mum, even though Mum said she couldn't sit there because she was getting over an illness. But she refused to move. She wouldn't let Mum out of her seat, and I just totally lost it. Oh my god, I just shouted at her, and oh my god, it was horrible, and it kind of just made me ill the rest of the week. I had really bad palpitations, my ears were ringing, it was just horrendous. and I felt so tired. I literally just slept for like the next 2 or 3 days because the exhaustion of having a meltdown just made me really tired. And yeah, so I spent a lot of time after that in bed. So my next meltdown happened about 2 weeks later. I was in Bershka, which is a high street clothes store, and I decided that I really wanted a new pair of jeans and trousers. So I spent a good half an hour browsing their store, picking up jeans to try on in their changing rooms once I'd finished. So it takes me a long time to decide on clothes that I like whether the style's going to fit, is going to suit me, whether they're going to fit me, and everything. So yeah, it takes me a long time, so that's why it took me like half an hour. Anyway, once I'd finished, I went down to the changing rooms, and bearing in mind there was about 3 staff members standing around, and I got there, big pile of jeans, and they said, "I'm sorry, but the changing rooms are closed." And I was like, "Excuse me? How come the changing rooms are closed when there's 3 staff members standing around?" And then they said, "Oh, sorry, we've only just closed." So this was my reaction. Yes, I really did throw a big pile of jeans all across the shop. I mean, I just couldn't understand why they couldn't let you use a changing room when there's 3 staff members just stood there. So my next meltdown happened on May the 1st. It was a rainy afternoon and they had an autism viewing of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 at my local cinema. So I had a lovely afternoon out watching Sonic 2, and I came out, went to the bus stop to get the bus home, and what do you know? The lady driver drove straight past me without stopping. I was clearly stood at the bus stop. Oh my God, I was absolutely fuming. I started screaming at the top of my lungs like a child. I started shouting out all sorts of words all through the high street. I started running top speed all down the high street. And then I started digging my nails into my hands and growling. I was going, because that's what I do when I'm angry, when I have a meltdown. So I was just sat on the wall, just growling and speaking to myself, and I just couldn't control the meltdown. It was awful. So the bus then had to travel all the way around town, and I had to run to the next bus stop in 5 minutes to get there, because otherwise I would have had to have waited another hour for the bus. That is why I was so mad, because the next bus stop is a long way away, and I had to run top speed with asthma. It was pouring down with rain, and yeah, and I had the potential to be stuck in town for another hour, all because of sheer, stupidity of just deliberately driving past me. So I made it to the bus stop, and the bus hadn't come round yet. There was other people at the stop, and at the time I was still in my meltdown mode. I hadn't recovered from what happened. So I was just sat cross-legged on the wall, growling, speaking to myself like, "She's going to pay. I'm going to tell her exactly what I think," I was saying, just to myself on the wall. And people were looking at me they just didn't realise what was happening. And my hands were clenched. I was digging my nails into my hands because I was so cross, And yeah, I was just prepared to just tell her exactly how I felt. And I was like, "You just wait until I get on this bus. How dare she do that?" So the bus finally came round and the lady was still driving. So I was all prepared to board the bus. I had my arms crossed and I was like, "I was waiting at the last bus stop and you drove it straight past me without stopping." And she was like, "I'm sorry, but I just didn't see you." And then I was like, "Well, I was clearly stood there and you drove straight past me." And then she said again, "Well, I'm sorry, I just didn't see you." So then I just headed upstairs all angry and frustrated and just sat down. So at that time I was then still trying to calm down after my meltdown, so I was still like muttering words to myself and rocking and just doing things like that really to try and calm down. So I had another big meltdown 2 weeks ago. It was a bad case of PMT. So it was 2 days before my period and I was just in town. I wasn't in a good mood from the time that I got up, and yeah, so that is how it started. So how it started was I didn't have time to style my hair because we had to rush for a bus, and I wanted to have this perfect hairstyle where I tied my hair back and curled it round into like a ball, and that is the style that I wanted on that day. So we headed into town and the first place we went was a charity shop. So I thought it would be the ideal place to style my hair in the charity shop mirror. So Mum was like, how embarrassing is that? I'm going, I'll see you later. So not only did my hairstyle not go to plan, Mum then left the shop, and because I had no credit on my phone, I had no contact with Mum and I had no idea where she was. So because I was so frustrated that my hair wasn't how I wanted it, I stormed out the shop. And hey, I went into yet another meltdown. So this time I was running down my high street screaming with a hairbrush in my hands. And then this lady was staring at me and I was like, do you want a picture? I am the town's crazy brush lady. So then I was charging through B&M, Santander and Poundland with a hairbrush in my hand looking for Mum. I finally caught sight of her about 15 minutes later and we had this big row in the middle of the high street and I was just screaming my head off. So we went down this quiet road at the back of the town just so I could just get all my screaming out the way and try and calm down. And then there was this group of people, I would say about 5 people, and they were stood on like a pavement opposite, and they were just staring at me like I was in a show. Like they were just watching me, and I was just so close again to saying something, but I thought, you know what, I'm just going to leave it. I finally got the hairstyle I wanted in the end. I then had a Greg's Yum Yum and I carried on with my day calmly. And now we have an eBay dilemma. So basically someone with 7 feedback bought an expensive item off of me and they decided that they didn't want it. So they sent me a message saying that they changed their mind and I'd already sent the item. So they issued a credit card chargeback saying that it was an unauthorised purchase to try and get their money back. And basically they're scammers. They had already told me in a phone call that I would definitely win the case if the buyer was to open up a dispute and that I didn't have to worry and that I could spend the money. So yeah, so I thought, yeah, everything was fine. Anyway, now they're saying that I was told completely the wrong information and that isn't the case and that I could lose the money, the item, and there's nothing that I can do about it. So for the past week or two, I've been having meltdowns nearly every single day. I've been screaming my head off. I've been crying. I've literally been collapsing on the floor crying. I haven't been eating properly. I haven't been sleeping. I've been pacing around the house. It has been absolutely horrific. I've been on the phone to eBay nearly every single day saying, you're liars, you've told me a load of lies, how can you do this to me? I'm not eating, I'm not sleeping, you know, you're liars, you're not having my money. And they just speak to me like robots and I'm like, can I speak to a real person, please? Please just help me. And they just have no sympathy whatsoever, and I've told them that I'm autistic and they just do not care. Guys, please take my advice and never bother selling on eBay. They have no regards whatsoever for the sellers. They only care about the buyers and they say the buyer is always right and you're guaranteed your money back, and it is just full of scams. And they have no sympathy whatsoever for people with learning difficulties. And I have literally been so ill the past fortnight. Literally, I've been having over 50 palpitations a day, and I'm having to phone the hospital tomorrow to try and get something sorted out in an emergency because it's made me feel that ill with the stress and the worry. So yeah, I've been having a lot of meltdowns lately and I hate it because I'm not a horrible person and it's just something that I just cannot control, and it's horrible because I would just love some help to help me through it and like get some management for it, because it's horrible to live with and it's just something I'm just completely unable to control. And as I said, I'm just not like that, you know. I'm not a horrible person, but small things just upset me, and then it just sets me off and I just have a complete and utter meltdown. It's like I get over one thing and then something else comes along. It's usually buses and eBay. They're like my two biggest things that I have meltdowns over the most. And yeah, so I've decided to completely give up eBay. So I'm never going to be selling on there ever again because it has a negative effect on my health, on both my physical and mental health. Sell on Facebook Marketplace, guys. It is so much better. So I'd love to hear if any of you guys had meltdowns too. Please let me know in the comments below. Okay, so we've come to the end of this video. I have many videos planned, so please remember to subscribe if you're interested in seeing my future content. Thank you so much for watching.